Cashless Casino. How can this assist with AML and player protection whilst delivering a true omni-channel experience to the player?
Hello everyone, as I was introduced, I'm Chris Rogers, CEO and founder of a company called 113 East Limited, which is a Macau-based company I've had for over 15 years. I've had various interests in and around gaming all over Asia and the world, a lot with software, operations, supply. I won't be necessarily telling everyone what our topic is about, but our esteemed panel will be. And what I'll do is I'm just going to let them introduce themselves, give the audience their background, and we'll start off from there and then we'll get into the topic.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Jacob Edel. I have a long history of gaming. I started at PokerStars many years ago, and then Betway built that, then transitioned into the other side. I worked at the EU Union in Brussels many years in anti-gaming, and now I'm back in promoting gaming, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, hello everybody. My name's Nick Hill. I'm the CEO of a company called PremierChain, and PremierChain is a consultancy business that leverages sort of my knowledge of progressive technologies and how to implement them into the gaming vertical. I've spent 23 years within the gambling space, both online and offline, so we're utilising sort of technologies like DLT, distributed ledger technology, AI, machine learning for compliance, AML, and the Cashless Casino going into the omni-channel environment.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Paul Foster. I'm the CEO of a company called Crucial Compliance. We specialise in compliance software, RG, AML, all machine learning, all automated within the online and land-based casino industry. So we're here to protect.
Awesome, thanks guys. So obviously we've got a wide range of skill sets on stage, which is great. So the topic today is Cashless Casino, which is a pretty broad term, and in particular how we can assist with AML player protection whilst delivering a true omni-channel pathway. So I think I'll start with, omni-channel. I think in terms of cashless casinos, it's very much based around regulatory environment in terms of what you can do, and to be able to deliver an omni-channel solution, you need the right regulatory environment. So let's talk about what omni-channel is for each of the panelists.
In order to deliver this omni-channel, as you said, there's so many stages we have to go through first to figure out how to solve. Especially, if we talk about here in the Philippines, we have the KYC, we have data management, as our colleagues talked about just before, the legal side of it, the licensees, the unlicensed, all that, all these questions that we always ask PACCOR, like how do we live up to that? Now, and to go cashless, you need to figure all these things out first. Otherwise, there's no protection for the players. There's no protection for our clients and partners, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, and to Jacob, to sort of follow on from there, an omni-channel experience from my personal perspective is giving the operator, whether they're a land-based operator, a better way to connect and interact with their patrons and their players by utilising the progressive technologies that are available, such as tokenization, creating wallets so that you can embed a more enriched player experience to the patron, to the player. But this can then also cross over into your online operations. And even as we start to go further, we can start looking at the Web3 and the metaverse applications, because a lot of IRs are looking at ways of engaging with a younger demographic of player that's coming through and needs to start to future-proof their businesses. And that's sort of what, you know, the omni-channel experience sort of means to me.
Yeah, and I think the omni-channel experience traditionally between land-based and online is very difficult because of regulation. But actually, if you look at cashless and where it's going, you're actually going to have a seamless omni-channel experience within the the actual event itself. So if you're in a casino, you'll be able to go from slot machines onto tables into the sports book with a single wallet and have a true omni-channel experience within the actual event itself. So yeah, I think there are very different definitions here.
But we all agree that omni-channel is something that would help all industries, right? Because I think this conference is a good one from, you usually have land-based and then you've got online that are separated, but if the regulation's right and we go after omni-channel, you've got all the verticals within gaming that can be sitting in a regulation. So if we think about cashless and then we think about AML and player protection, and we quickly run around the world, I'll use Australia as an example because I'm an Australian. So Australia's getting, there's no other way to put it but other than getting hammered by regulatory environment. Crown Casino, I think, are leading the way in reforming themselves. Kieran Carruthers is a good friend of mine, he's a CEO. I think he's the perfect choice for that organisation. Doing really well under a massive amount of pressure and a lot of fines to try to get player protection and AML, and I know there's a lot of onus on that. And the fallout of that is that the rest of the industry in Australia they're being pushed towards cashless, whatever that is. It's certainly not omni-channel, but it's cashless into the clubs, and I think there's a lot to digest in Australia. So if you compare that to, say, the Philippines, I think the Philippines, we're sitting here today as for me, is one of the most progressive regulatory environments in the world nearly when it comes to land-based, online, and has a real chance of becoming omni-channel. In terms of markets, what does everyone think in terms of where we are at a market to get to cashless protection omni-channel?
Well, I agree with you to some point. I think if we look at where the Philippines are in terms of the casinos, I'm reminded, I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but I'm reminded on what Europe was 10 years ago, honestly. Remember the days where you could go into a market, licensed or unlicensed, but you can still market yourself, you can still present yourself to the players, and that's what we're seeing here, even though we have a regulatory entity in place in PANCO, right? So if we take that to the cashless things, the Philippines has something very unique that most countries do not have. It has, or this GCash application. If you look at how far GCash is ahead in the Philippines, just compared to some Scandinavian markets, Norway is considered the most cashless country in the world. Only 2% of all cash transactions is done by the traditional old money ways that we thought. But in the Philippines, the GCash app, the penetration is close to 90% of the population.
Wow, that's incredible. That's great information.
Sorry, so that gives you a huge opportunity to go cashless.
So regulatory plus technology, there's a lot of elements within this market that can create that pure omni-channel. Nick?
Yeah, well, I totally agree. So with the technologies that are available, you know, from the protection side of the player, from the AML aspects, the source of funds, integrating something like GPlay into your platform as part of your omni-channel experience would certainly, obviously, make things work so much easier, and you're reaching out to that demographic that you're trying to attract into your physical property or into your online properties. But they're then depositing sort of like fiat currency into a wallet that we then convert into a stable token, so that you can then use that as casino currency throughout your routes to market.
So do you think there's a lot of technologies that are yet to be fully explored, depending on the regulatory framework of a country? Some countries accept blockchain, looking at all different things, others are not. Like, I mean, I lived in Macau for 12 years, certainly know the Macau government's not quite ready yet, may get there, depending on what it is, but you would say not, whereas the Philippines is a bit more open. Australia's definitely going down a track, but I don't think they really have any blockchain in mind, the banking system, that's so far away. It's interesting, as you said, Europe, right? There's lots of different areas in Europe that are far more advanced perhaps some markets here, but these markets in Asia, I think, like Asia in general, can catch up very quickly.
Yeah, because they took the other way around. I mean, that's what's interesting about the Philippines is that they basically started backwards. They developed the technology and then just ran it out there, right?
Yeah.
Where in Europe, you know, we spent 10 years thinking about it, and then gradually we transitioned into this, which I'm not saying which option is best.
Yeah.
But I think, to be honest, the future of all of this is the KYC is going to be at some point in our lives, right? Yep. We're just going to KYC once, and it'll be the standard for everything that we do. It'll be the bank, it'll be the supermarket. If you want to rent a movie or whatever you do, go to the whatever. Where you have to identify yourself, it's going to be a one-point KYC option. That is the true omni-channel, cashless, utopia idea, right?
For sure. And so, Paul, that's right up your alley, right? So, what do you think?
Yeah, so exactly. With the, you know, what you were saying about the regulation is driving it, but it's not just the regulation in gambling, because a lot of this is coming from AML regulation. AML regulation and Procedures of Crime Acts are global. And you know, you heard the chairman earlier talking about the grey list that the Philippines is on, and in getting off that, and that is going to be key with AML. And there is the technology out there to put AML rails immediately over casinos now through cashless technology, because what you need is a single wallet with a single verification, single KYC. Once you're in there, everybody knows who you are. So however you move money into that wallet, there is an audit trail. De facto, you're not going to breach any AML rules from that moment on once it's in the wallet of the casino. So, you know, that technology exists today. It's used in online casinos every day. So, you know, the ability to change it into the casino world is very easy. And it's just a matter of whichever regulator pushes it first, and in Australia, they are pushing it.
So we've got all the technology, we've got the markets, we've got the players, so it's all there. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, right? That just needs to be put together. Whoever gets the best stable table to put the jigsaw puzzle together is going to be ahead. But Paul, I'm going to pick on you. So we're talking about AML, player protection, and all of that. It's great. How do you go as an operator, and you have all of this technology, and you've got omni-channel, and you're going after the dollars, because that's where we're all in business. And how do you manage that and protect the player? So a VIP player, if you look at a VIP player, can either be treated as a VIP player or treated as someone that needs protection from an AML standpoint or a regulatory standpoint. I know in Australia, again, they use that as an example. It's probably the biggest challenge they have, is that you're a person who can afford to be in there, you're gambling, you've got certain gambling patterns, but all of a sudden, we have these regulations that are going to ostracize you and going to make you feel uncomfortable. How do you have a cashless environment and privacy? And we spoke privacy at the other panel, right? Privacy is a massive one. So, you know, how do you manage that? It's a tricky one.
Yeah, it is. And what you've got to look at is behavioural monitoring. So, you know, everybody's talking about AI. In the world of behavioural monitoring from a compliance point of view, it's been going on in this industry for 5 to 6 years with the most experienced companies. So the model's already built, and the key thing here is that you're measuring a player against themselves. Historically, you measure a player against a cohort of players. And if you want a really good omnichannel cashless casino situation, you have to be able to track that player's behavior against themselves. So it's when you came in yesterday, you played a certain way. Today, you're playing completely differently. What has changed? What's available? What do we know about you? What can we get from the data? So that the user experience is that they don't know this is going on, because it's there to protect them. And it's only when you actually identify that that player's behavior has changed, and it's changed for the worse, that you then actually go and interact with that player.
What if they win the lotto, and that's the reason why they've changed?
Well, that's fine. You've just got to ask that question.
Oh, so if I won the lotto, I wouldn't be telling you. That's for sure. So it's a tricky one, right? You want to... AML, I've just won the lotto and I'm betting like max bet, but I'm not telling you I won the lotto.
Well, we also got, at some point we got to face the fact that we cannot implement all of these things and expect privacy. We cannot, it's like asking for both things, right? I want to be completely anonymous, but I want to have all these options to do that. And right now, we do not have the smart way of getting both.
Okay, so you made a good point, right? We'll all get KYC'd once, and on the panel, put your hand up if you would be up for getting KYC'd once and divulge everything. You couldn't be once, right? Because if your circumstances, I probably would as well.
Yeah, I'll do it. I mean, look, it's inevitable. Maybe not for us, but at least for our kids and for sure their kids. It'll be, there's going to be technology we cannot even imagine on how to identify you as a person,
yeah, no,
right?
100%.
When we're walking through the airport, you will no longer be checking into your flight. As long as you're there, they know you're there. They know how, the AI will identify how many bags you have.
Yeah, well, it's interesting in the Philippines because you're walking into casinos now and the camera, right, facial recognition is being used massively. Again, if you go back to privacy, I mean, I don't mind you having technology direct market to me because it saves me time. So there's pros and cons to it. But if we're talking,
convenience.
Pardon?
Convenience.
Yeah, no. It's so you're weighing up convenience versus regulation versus protection. So Paul, you're the compliance guy, right? I'm not telling you I've won lotto. How do you protect me?
Yeah, well, you solve it through sensible conversation with regulators, because most countries now, in all regulation, have a carve out, especially around the information commissioners' officers, to basically say if it's going to be used for regulatory purposes and solely for that purpose, that you're allowed to collect the data and use the data. So actually, most regulation already have it built in. All you've got to do is prove that what you're using it for is for a regulatory purpose, and that's fairly straightforward. What you can't do is misuse that data, because then you get in big trouble. So it's trust. If you're going to give all your information to somebody, it's trust.
So it's regulators opening up to technology, willing to open to I suppose the market sort of forces, if you like, if it's online, whatever they've allowed. Talking to the industry being sensible about it. But at the end of the day, we want to protect everyone, right? We don't get anywhere by destroying players.
No, but you also want to protect your investment.
Of course.
So here I'm also thinking about if you invest in a market and it's heavily regulated, and on the other side there are unregulated operators there running freely. Well, then you should be able to say, well, you can only use the software, the standard, if you are licensed.
Sure. Okay, so we're actually running down on time, so I will put it out there. If anyone has any questions for the esteemed panel that they'd like to ask. Oh, mate, we've solved all the problems. There's not even a question now. We've just... Do you want to solve anything else in the world? I mean, should we talk about world hunger? What do you want to do? We've got 2.5 minutes. Paul, what would you like to solve in the world, please?
Yeah, I'd like to solve, global alcoholism. Mainly...
That'll never happen.
Mainly created by the gaming industry around the world. No, I think, just to close off this subject, when we're talking about cashless casino, just to reiterate, all of the technology is here, all of the capability is here. A lot of it is in the online space. People have been looking to the traditional land-based space for solutions. It is all there. You just need to talk to the right people who can put it together. So, it is here, and it is to stay, and it is the way that we're going to solve the majority of regulatory problems in the land-based area by adopting cashless casino.
Well put, mate. I'll back that up as well. I can reiterate with Philippines being at the forefront of regulatory reform, not only in the casino industry, but digitalising their processes from a government perspective and allowing a potential true omni-channel. So, a conference like this, you've got online guys, you've got land-based guys. Land-based now in online opens up all those discussions that get it all in that one funnel that you need to actually, create what we've just discussed. So I think, as a market, the Philippines is quite amazing. It's great to see. Hopefully other markets will follow. Probably wait and see how they work it out and go from there. But it's great that a market is pushing forward to be able to sort of develop that. Nick, any last words?
Well, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with everybody, what we've said on the panel. Like, all the key elements of the jigsaw are there. It's putting it together, and it's understanding, you've mentioned regulators. Regulators do need to be more proactive, not reactive. The technology is moving so swiftly, and you look at AI, and that's moving so quickly, even business can't keep up with it, let alone the regulators.
No one knows what's going on with AI. Seriously, anyone who says they're an AI expert's full of shit. Come on.
So we've got to collaborate and communicate and be a little bit more open with with the technologies that we're working with and working together, basically.
Well put. Jacob, last 15 seconds, go.
Yeah, I think I agree completely. I think the only word we need to put on is responsibility, and you know, that we think about what we do with all this data, and make sure people are safe, or you know, the kids are safe, and everybody, and then we'll be fine.
Perfect. All right, well, I think we're out of time, so thanks to the panel. Thanks for everyone for listening and not falling asleep. Thank you.